Alright, I was going to show my Arcade1up countercade mod, but first I want to show a couple things because I did things a little bit differently using this power bank here and no what's-it-face, no power strips or anything, all USB power. So with this mod kit, get in there. I'm using the flash to get light. The flash. So, the power that you power your converter board with, they give you this USB. It's a USB, micro USB cable, and just take the micro USB, put it right into the Raspberry Pi, right there. Put it into the USB on the Raspberry Pi, and then I have a USB-C cable plugged into the power on the Raspberry Pi, and that goes to the power bank on the back that I velcroed to the back of the device. And this one has a button where you have to press it to power it on. And then I also have this cable that they give you with the converter board plugged into, I don't remember exactly the pins. Is it pin 1, not 1, 2, or I don't know. But you plug it into these two pins, and then you can actually use the power on the front to power the whole arcade on, including the LCD board, as long as you hooked everything up okay. There is a tutorial online, I will link to it, but you hook everything up to this thing here, and you should be able to power on everything, including your display, your marquee. There's a workaround for the marquee that's covered in the tutorial I'll link to, and all that fun stuff. And then the next step, the only thing I have left to do is try my best to manage these cables, which isn't easy. But yeah, that's how I have that set up. I'm using Batocera. So one thing I did have to do, seeing as I'm using that operating system, was in order to get the power, when I power it on, in order to get it to actually, power on, and then when you flip the switch, it says power off. Okay, let me reiterate this. So by stock, when you flip the switch, it'll say power off and it will power on. It will invert. So I had to flip the power switch around. If you have RetroPie, I believe there's a script that fixes that. But because I'm using Batocera, I had to physically flip the switch around, which was fairly simple. It's just a couple screws. You take a couple screws out, and then I took the old encoder board for the controls out because I'm not using it. And underneath that is the switch. There's a couple screws. You just take the screws out. There's a switch inside of a plastic housing. You just flip that one switch around, put the screws back. It's really easy. And that's how that goes. The best bet probably is not to lose any of the screws, like I did. So I lost one of the back screws. I think I might know where it's located, but I only got 3 screws to put in. I think it'll stay on. Oh, this is an extra hole that I drilled, by the way, with the hole saw. It was a 30mm hole saw. Also, you do need to drill holes, in the cabinet somewhere for a select and hotkey button, which I did on the bottom, where you can't really see it. So let me turn this around, and we will bring this up so you can see it. I just needed to get everything. Got some smudges on my screen. I just needed to get everything in the back in the shot. And that's that. All right, so here's the arcade. Let's see if I can, no, whatever. Anyway, so this is it. I need to press the power. It could be done either way, but I'm just going to press the power in the back and hit on, and the marquee should light up, and the screen should light up, and I don't need the flash. I just did that so you can see in the back. And volume works. And that's all, you know, the converter board you get, that's taken care of. So this is a quick Batocera arcade image I threw together. Chucked some ROM sets, and maybe I don't want it too loud because then I'll be trying to yell over the audio. But we are loading up. One thing that I had an issue with, there is a HDMI adapter for the Pi that this comes with, and it kept disconnecting. So the connection with that wasn't very good. I had another one, and I used that, but I don't know. You might have some issues with the connector, but it might just be my connector. I don't know. But this is it with the Batocera installed. I got my buttons down here. Let's tilt this up and see if I can. Let me lift it. So yeah, the buttons are there. I drilled holes for those with a hole saw. If you're going to go through the plexi, it's a lot more complicated. I see a lot of people cracking the plexi. You have to start off with a very small drill bit. Normally you put it like, if you don't have a protector over the film over there, you put like a piece of tape over the plexi wherever you're going to drill, and then start off with a very small drill bit and just step your way up until you get to the size of the drill bit that's in your hole saw. I don't recommend using a step bit. You will probably destroy it, but just try to slowly step your size up with your drill bit until you get to the size of the drill bit in the hole saw, and then, but slowly drill really slowly, because what happens is when it goes really fast, it melts the plastic and causes it to get gunk all up and just makes it a huge mess. It doesn't create a clean hole. So make sure with all your drill bits you go slow, not fast, to avoid melting of the plastic and such. So it is a pain in the ass. That's why I didn't actually drill through this. But, you know, it's just, wanted to put that out there so maybe a few people wouldn't be cracking their protectors and all that. Other than that, here is your N64. I put mostly just arcade style games on here, so games that I would expect to see in an arcade, or games that were in an arcade. Although that game doesn't run perfectly, but, you know, a couple cruising games, some racing games that, you know, remind me of arcade games, and, you know, games that were in the arcade. So then I have Beats of Rage, and I got Thomas Wave, some like Streets of Rage games, Musha, Truxton. And I got Space Harrier 2, Golden Axe 2. Those were, I believe, exclusive to the Sega Genesis, as well as Hyperstone Heist. So, I also have like a cool little, if you're interested in it, type of filter on there. Like a curvature filter that you can bring up in the menus. You go into the shaders. And there's different shaders. You go into, I think it's game settings, and then it should see something called shader set. And right now that's a universal shader set, and I didn't want that for every game. So what I did was I went to the individual systems that I wanted to put the shaders on, and I hit select, I believe. I could be wrong. No, advanced system options. And then if you go down to shader set, it says curvature. There's other ones too. There's enhanced, which makes it a little more smooth and sharp and whatever. And flat and glow and retro and all these other things. Scan lines, sharp, bilinear, simple. So you know, all these different ones. But I chose curvature because it reminds me of more of a CRT look. So you get that kind of CRT and scanline kind of thing. So I got all my favorites going on there. Love Gigawing. So I'm going to show you what the filter looks like. Of course, you can just leave it as is and just have it be sharp and vibrant. So now you just add some quarters. And you hit start. And see, there's like a subtle curvature effect there. And there's some scan lines. So that works good. And I got my Dreamcast games and all that. So Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, got a couple Sega Saturn games on here. So yeah. So with this mod, I had to replace the sticks. I heard someone say that they were able to actually modify the stock cable and use the built-in sticks, but I just replaced the sticks. So I don't know how they did that, but yeah. Here's a Dreamcast. You got Marvel vs. Capcom 2, House of the Dead 2, Crazy Taxi, Dynamite Cop, Dead or Alive 2. You can play a little bit of that. Do some gameplay. Let's just listen to the volume at max volume. That may be actually, you hear that clicking and popping. I believe that might be an issue with the power bank not giving enough power to the single board computer, so it might start clicking and popping at 100%. So there still is not, it's still not perfect with the power bank, but you know, I got it loud enough. I don't need it at 100. Sometimes if you raise the brightness of the display too much, because there is a board in there, or if you raise the volume too much, it may start giving you issues. So, but Dead or Alive's working fine. Hey, taking advantage of how much I suck. So Dead or Alive is working good on here. So that's nice. Let me play a game that I believe that should have been on here, even though I suck at it, but it should have been on this cabinet, but it wasn't. And that game, if I can find it, should be in my favorites. That game is, drum roll, is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Yes. You can now play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Which I feel like would have been a perfect fit for this cabinet, but oh well. It's not there. You can also play the Naomi version, which is the arcade one, so. Let me try not to put my arm in. I hope I didn't put my arm in front of the camera when I was doing the gameplay. I always do dumb things like that. But yeah, we have Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And we'll go with Spider-Man. Wait a second, Spider-Man is exclusive to the PS5. How's this happening? Let me just zoom in a bit. So yeah, even with my crappy playing, it works just fine. Anyways, but get my point. It works. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 will be fine. And let's see. The only thing with Batocera I have an issue with is I can't get Wi-Fi to work, and it's been like that for a while. Ethernet would work, but it would be really cool if you had Wi-Fi, so you can have a Wi-Fi enabled cabinet, and there are features where you can play people online with this. But you know, not a thing. Not a thing. Then we have Mortal Kombat, and those all work just fine. They work fine on the Pi 3, so they work fine on the Pi 4. You also have, like, I actually have a, where is it? I have here a, if I can find it, my collections. I have an Arcade1up collection that actually, I put all the games that were originally on this in that collection, so if I want to play any of the games that came with this, they are in a collection here. But I also have a Mortal Kombat collection, which includes things like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, 4, like gold basically, so the Dreamcast version of 4, Unchained on the PSP, Ultimate Trilogy from the PS1, and stuff like that. So we'll load up Mortal Kombat 4. And we could play some Mortal Kombat 4 on here. Sega. Yeah. I hate when they force you through things.
Unicom Development Limited Entertainment Software Games. Electronic fun for everyone.
Alright. Finally play, huh? I'm not very good at this version of Mortal Kombat. It's not my favorite, so I never really learned much how to play it, so I know you can pick weapons up and things that, you know, you normally can't do in other Mortal Kombats, but I forget how to do them. But here's Mortal Kombat 4 running just fine. So did I just spit acid out of the back of my head? Okay. Alright, so yeah, you just see that works. And, So yeah, we have all those collections there, and I set up 2 players. I got the 2-player. You just go into the collections and choose 2 players in the what is it, the automatic collection or something. Go into the game collection settings, and go to automatic game collections, and 2 players is right there, so you can just check that off and it'll show up. It'll reload the UI and that'll show up. Got my light gun games, even though I'm probably not going to play them. They're there if I want, but playing light gun games on this is a little weird. Got my Capcom Classics, Midway, Sega. Got some Daphne games going. Dragon's Lair. Okay. Okay, so I don't know what I just did. Apparently, was I playing? I don't know. But yeah, you have Dragon's Lair, Space Ace. I have all these games here. And then, yeah, so you got a lot of possibilities with this. I love Beats of Rage. Actually, the original is just... I like the, extra. I don't know why I like the extra. The extra is just, like, I believe it's just extra characters, and I only use the 1 character. But yeah, there's a few cool Beats of Rage games here. You got your Sega Genesis, where I can play beat 'em ups on the Sega Genesis, and you know. Ooh. And then yeah. Hey. So yeah, these are fun games. The only thing I don't like about them is there's this fetish they have with driving motorcycles back and forth and driving you nuts, which pisses me off. So I wish they didn't do the whole motorcycle rider thing where they drive back and forth and run you down, and yeah, it's annoying. Other than that, there's that. And I'm just gonna show some other things that I did. Just I have a 3D printer, so down here where the sticks are, I actually, you might see that I have this down here is black, like you would see it on the hapsticks and the arcades and such. And then, you know, so I basically just printed out some shaft. You can buy them on eBay, but I printed out some shaft covers for that. And they came with this, which I printed out as well because it didn't fit with the stock dust covers. And then I just printed out some of these. I'll pull one off. This one probably comes off easier because I pulled it off a million times. This, which I printed out, it just covers up the holes of there's screws in the side of the cabinet, and they show, and it's really ugly. And you can just, again, you could buy these, but you can also print them if you have a 3D printer, and you just use them to cover up the holes in the side of the cabinet where the screws are. So there's that. And I don't know if I did anything else. I think that might be the extent of it. So that's the overview of this. I will link a tutorial in the description on how to do all this stuff. There's a decent tutorial on it, and I guess I can link you to the board that you can use. And if I think of anything else, or if you think of anything else, mention it. I'll put it in the description. So thank you for watching.